honored to be here. But first, I want to give you a applause for putting this on. You and Ariella did an amazing job. I know putting on an event and coordinating with the speakers when it's recorded or live, and then all the people on here. Thank you for showing up and just playing full out ever. And I'm honored to be a part of the Outlier podcast. You are actually making a dream of mine come true.
Oh, nice.
Seriously, when you were having the one in Austin, I was out of town. I was like, damn it all, I would love to be there and speak at Outlier Podcast Festival, and you've made it come true. So thank you, Ever.
Yeah, quick story, and then I'll let you get to it. But yeah, we headed out to Austin last May. And of course, everywhere we go, each city we go to, we're always asking, who do we need to talk to? Who needs to be on our stage that's local to that city? Austin being this one. And everybody was like, you need to talk to Scott. You need to talk to Scott. Reached out to Scott. He said he had a prior engagement, so we weren't able to get him face-to-face there last May. But this is, I think, even better because this is being broadcasted globally. And so instead of just the 200 there at the event, this has far-reaching effects here with the virtual part of it. So thank you for being part of it.
Hey, the only thing missing out would be tacos and margaritas, and I promise everybody I'll eat my share tonight for everybody, okay?
You and I both. Thanks, Scott.
I will do it. All right, man. Well, thanks. I will let me pull up my presentation here. And for those that are here, join us live and watching it, do me a favor. If you're already on LinkedIn, because we're going to talk about LinkedIn tonight, I'd love for you to put your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn link in the chat roll, in the Q&A roll. I promise not to end early. I will tell you that. I promise I will probably take up all 55 minutes of this my segment here, because I'm a big believer in driving in. So we're going to do a mixture of some PowerPoints, and then I'm really going to jump over and walk through a couple of things on LinkedIn to help you show you step-by-step basis how I do what I do. So very important. Yeah, put your thing in there. And then also do me a favor. If you've got a podcast, tell me what the name of the podcast and its focus, if it's not clear in the title there for me. And I'll get to those in a second on the second half of my presentation. But guys and gals, if you don't know who the heck I am, I'm Scott Carson. I'm just a normal, crazy cat out of Austin, Texas here. Austin's been home. I've been an active digital marketer since 2005. I come from the background of in the finance industry, mortgage market, and in the last, oh golly, I guess say 15 years for the most part, from running a mortgage company to being a real estate investor to where I now am. I focus on the niche of buying and selling distressed debt, with my podcast being called The Note Closer Show. Not writing notes or musical notes, but notes as in mortgages on residential commercial properties. I'm the CEO of WeCloseNotes.com. That's my company. Was a 2014 Educator of the Year in the real estate industry based on what I do and teach. I've been teaching virtual events for 5 years as we moved our classes online. I actually have one kicking off tomorrow through the weekend. And just honored to be here. Thanks for fitting me in and being there. But well, I've been marketing for a while. I was kind of hesitant to get in the podcasting space. Now, I've been podcasting for roughly around 3 years, if you figure in from the time that I was doing a lot of Facebook Lives before we converted to a full-time podcast. So honored here. I am filming. I just filmed literally 20 minutes ago, episode 599, and I'll film episode 600 of the Note Closer Show on Monday morning. So we crank out a lot of content, 3 to 5 episodes a week. We see roughly somewhere around 700 to 1,700, 2,000 downloads per episode, depending on what's going on. But the beautiful thing is, in my niche, and real estate's a big field. It's not a small niche. I picked a niche for my podcast that was very small. And I went deep on that aspect of things. I didn't try to go wide, and that's one of the big things I see a lot of people fail with in podcasts is they try to be a one-to-all. I went tight in that niche and own, and I dominate my niche when it comes to podcasting. That's why when people reach out, hey, I own my spot. I really, really not only just own the podcasting spot, but we do more marketing in the note space than most other people do in the world. But I dominated, but also I had set a big goal to monetize my podcast in the first year and beyond. We've done that. Also, a big thing that we talk about is I look at any type of event that I'm on, whether it's like this virtual or I'm on somebody else's podcast, is that I'm getting the word out, because if somebody brings me on their podcast, I take it a very sacred spot, whether it's 10 listeners or 10,000 downloads, that's an audience. And so last year I really made it a goal to hit 100 other podcasts as a guest, and I was on 120 total last year. I expect to do that on more this year in 2020 as things kind of finalize off. But that's a little bit about me. I have a passion for helping entrepreneurs. big heart, big passion. I want to help those succeed. I was very fortunate to have some great mentors help me along the way. Great people, some great podcasting marketing friends have helped me expand and grow my show and really do what is well. When we're over 670,000 downloads, 2 million listeners a month on our radio networks, and just absolutely really happy out there. But my handle is @OneScottCarson. Connect with me, and then also if you guys would like to connect with me, feel free to book a 30-minute phone call for free. TalkWithScottCarson.com, and I'll bring it up at the end. But anyway, how has LinkedIn helped my show? Well, it's obviously helped me grow my niche of audience. I use LinkedIn because it's a professional social media place. And if I'm in real estate, it's kind of a professional atmosphere. So I've gone and really focused over the last 18 months, really got serious the last 12 months, and have grown my connections on LinkedIn from 6,000 to 21,000 connections. All right, in the last 12 months. I've been booked. I've used LinkedIn, like I said, to get booked on over 125 other shows. I have turned connections into listeners, into followers, and ultimately into clients. I have three, actually I've got like 5 podcasts, but the 2 biggest ones for the most part is the Note Closure Show podcast. And then I also have been doing webinars every Monday night for the most part for 8 years. And I turned that into Note Night in America. I branded that. And I use that webinar on Monday nights to really market. It's my biggest marketing piece every week, with anywhere from 200 to 500 people on that for an hour call. And then we turned it into a podcast that's also done 70,000 downloads on itself on repeat. So I love using LinkedIn. There's no easier way to find the people that you want to be listening to your show or to connect with than LinkedIn. Okay. So let's talk about some of the numbers of LinkedIn. Why is it valuable for you to take a look at? These are pulled directly off of LinkedIn's marketing websites and things like that. There's over 600 million users as of a year ago. They don't have the updated thing, but you imagine we're getting closer to 700 million. 50% of Americans with college degrees use it. So if a college degree is an important facet or feature of your avatar, your ideal listener, who you should be listening to, you probably want to be on LinkedIn. 69% of users have above average income. Now, above average income can vary, but for the most part, you're going to see above average income being like 75 grand to 6 figures and beyond. So if that's important for you, because if you're listening to people and you want them to buy something or affiliates, you want to be able to afford what you're offering up, okay? 44% of users are women. So ladies, hey, or guys, or whoever's listening on there, if women is a big part of your demographic, you should be on LinkedIn as well. Another thing here, this was a number that surprised me, that 38% of LinkedIn users are 25 to 34-year-olds. That's our prime podcast listening audience. Now, in my real estate, especially in my distressed debt niche business of notes, I have a little bit older avatar, 35 to 65. So I don't spend a lot of time marketing on Instagram, especially not TikTok. I mean, I can't really dance unless it's two-stepping. Go Texas. But if you're wanting to attract listeners and people are starting off these new professionals and you're providing something valuable to them, you definitely want to be in there. And then, of course, there's 87 million millennials alone on LinkedIn out there. So those are some big demographics, some numbers that you should be targeting and looking at. Hey, is my audience fit into one of these avatars? Well, then I need to be on there. Now, I've been using LinkedIn for a while, but like I said before, really got serious in the last 12 months. And I really want to go through basically kind of the 4 big things that we're using. The first thing is identifying and connecting with ideal listeners. And we'll go through that a little bit more. Using LinkedIn to help you get booked on other people's shows. I know a lot of you are interested in that, but then also using it to get people booked on my show as well. I'm not doing 600 episodes where just me talking by myself. I would be a lot hoarser. My show is a mixture of me teaching, but then also bringing on experts and then other investors and vendors in the space to help educate and provide content to my audience, to my niche. A big underutilized aspect of LinkedIn is the LinkedIn groups are great places where they may have groups of as little as 100 people all the way up to 150,000 people in some of the groups I'm a part of that fit into my niche. And then one of the most important things that we all want to do is you can use LinkedIn to engage and be very interactive with your audience out there. That's one of the most important things to do. A lot of people, and one of our previous guests was all about quality versus quantity. And I could not agree more with you. Quality I've made some really great relationships on LinkedIn, and it has turned into really great. Like today alone, I got somebody that reached out to me, saw a post, called me up, not to talk about the podcast, but he had a property he actually wanted to sell, but we connected originally on LinkedIn here in Austin, Texas. He's like, oh, I know you're in Austin, Texas. I had this thing, like, great, let's talk some more and go from there. So I'm just going through some of the comments here. Thank you, Lulu. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Kill the Ad Man. Love that. Thank you, Eric Dickey. Thank you, Brian Hayden. Thank you. Let's see here. Roger Smith. Awesome. Appreciate Eric Dickey, Jacob Good. It's an awesome, great stuff there for you. Okay. Sophia Ruiz. So great for you guys to share your links on there. And I tell you guys to do that so you can use each other to connect with. LinkedIn, you guys should be connecting with other podcasters. And let alone Ever's not going to give out the database of the sign. I wouldn't either. But those that are showing up, you're sharing your LinkedIn. Hey, why not use the opportunity to connect? I love the fact that Ever put the social media links for all the speakers for the most part that they provided, so I could go out and connect with them. I've already exchanged conversations back and forth with 5 of the speakers on opportunities, on co-guesting or being a guest or being a speaker on things that will help us both grow in a variety of things. And so that's LinkedIn is really how you grow your links. So moving on here. So let's talk about where do you begin? Because I actually hear this all the time. LinkedIn just seems too big. It's too crazy. I'm used to Facebook. I'm used to Instagram. Where do you begin? Well, it all first starts with your profile. Actually, I would say it starts with your profile photo. But you want to make sure and complete your profile 100%. This is the big mistake I see a lot of people do is they only put the bare necessities. Let me start dancing. It's the bare necessities. I can't believe I'm singing a Disney song. Okay, Steph's going to love me. All right. But complete your profile 100%. And by completing your profile, filling it out from top to bottom, as much information as you can, it really works as a professional resume for you. Put a good photo, fill out your profile. Don't just put the minimum stuff in there, but literally fill it out. And what's great is LinkedIn will walk you through it. They've got a lot of things for special projects, or you can upload SlideShare presentations. You can upload videos, things you're passionate about. Really great stuff to post there, okay? Another big underutilized tool of LinkedIn is it allows for you to connect your email database or email service providers into LinkedIn so that LinkedIn can go look at the emails people are communicating with, see if they've got a profile on LinkedIn and help you connect. Very easy to do that way. Just takes a couple seconds to do it. Why having LinkedIn? It's a very serious social media. Yeah, it is. It's a good thing to have. But if we're all in business, we're all in business and media here, everybody. I don't care what your podcast is about. We're all in business and media. If you're looking for selling tiddlywinks to real estate, to being a gym, to being ad copy, you're all in media. And start treating it as business. Instead of being a hobby, that's great. Hobby's great. But for what so many people tell me about, they want to increase their downloads, they want to increase their listeners, they want to monetize, then if you're not on LinkedIn, I honestly don't consider you a real podcaster for the most part, because you want to go where people are at. All right. Audio is only going to be 25% of the population out there. Video, if you're only doing audio, then you're missing 75% of the other population out there who may be listening. Not everybody's going to be listening to Spotify or iTunes. So you need to go where people are at to share and to be able to find them. Okay. So connecting and import your email list, I'll show you how to do this. Is very simple to do. It can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you right off the bat. All right, get you above 1,000 plus connections, relatively easy. And that's the beautiful thing. LinkedIn doesn't put a maximum of 5,000 people to be friends with. Now, they do start limiting some of the interaction when you get beyond 15, 20, 30,000 connections, but most of you aren't going to get there for a while. All right. One of the best things that you can do also is look on LinkedIn for different groups. There's a lot of big groups on LinkedIn in your niches that you can join and connect with other people in your field. And who wouldn't you, I'll give you an example. Like I joined a real estate investment group on there who are looking for deals. Well, I want to share my podcast because it's a niche inside the real estate investment side. If there's a health group on there or a wellness group, hey, check out my podcast on this specific thing, or I have a guest on who really talks about this and this. Some great things to share to the groups, and you'll get some engagement. You'll get people really starting to communicate, okay? But that's the thing. You can find the niches out there. Maybe there's a small group. Maybe there's a big group. You don't know until you know. But the most important thing is like on anything else. is showing up, posting and sharing content regularly. I had a lady I was talking to 2 nights ago tell me like, well, I use LinkedIn, but I never get any type of engagement. I'm like, okay, how often are you posting? Oh, regularly, like once every month. I'm like, that's not regular, okay? That's not regular at all right? Regularly is just like anything else. And one of the things I was so excited about, see all the posts of people posting their selfies in the Outlier podcast group. How many of you are shared that post over to LinkedIn? How many of you shared something to LinkedIn in the last 2 days or 3 days? It works really easy to start tracking down people, not just with profiles, but the fact that LinkedIn really relies heavily on hashtags now, and that you can tag people if you're connected with them. Your profile can really boost your stuff up. But what's really working well on LinkedIn is sharing videos, short videos. Yes, LinkedIn has the live feature that there's some weird algorithm to get approved for it. I'm not even approved for it yet, which I don't get, but sharing short videos or little teaser videos, audiograms, 1-minute teasers of sharing that do really, really well on LinkedIn. I share our podcast episode artwork. We have a new podcast episode comes out. I share it there with a short description and a link to my website for this show. Like Todd Cochran talked about this morning, shared a link to your website so you own that traffic. One of the great things. Now, what also works really, really well too, better than other places, is long content, blogs and articles does an amazing job on LinkedIn compared to other platforms. All right. The average user on LinkedIn spends more time, usually about double to triple the amount of time on LinkedIn than they do on Facebook on an article. They'll read it, they'll share it, they'll like it, they'll comment on it. And it's a great thing as well there too. And here's another thing that I didn't talk about. If you've got people that love your show, but don't know how to leave a review or anything like that, you can have them leave you a recommendation on LinkedIn. That works as a great ad piece for you as well. So those are the things that you should begin with. Complete your profile 100%, connect your email lists and import those, identify some groups and start connecting with them, and then start sharing, okay? Those are the 3-4 big things that you need to be doing on a regular basis to start off with. Not hard to do. You just have to start doing it, okay? Now, let's talk about what not to do, because there's a lot of people screwing LinkedIn up, and I'm sure many of you have been a part of this spam actions that are taking place. The biggest thing not to do is when people rarely post or interact with others. You want to post, you want to like, you want to leave a comment on not only your stuff, but on other people's stuff, other people's posts. Go on there and check out, scroll through a couple times a day. I do it a little bit in the morning, and I do a little bit in the evening. I look at those too. I don't do a lot of stuff on the weekend because it's a little bit more professional on LinkedIn because most people are off. We'll spend a lot of time on here. But the thing that's really nice about the stuff is you can see who's looked at your profile. You can see who's looked at your links and connected on things. That's a beautiful thing, okay? Now, LinkedIn is pretty relatively easy to send connections, invites, and the things I'm talking about, everybody, is with the free version. You don't have to have the paid version unless you really want to start upping some of your connections to people that are 2nd or 3rd degree removed from you. You can do all the things I'm talking about with a 1st degree connection, which is the free account for the most part. But a lot of people are screwing up, and I know we all see this where they send an invite, hey, connect with me, buy my stuff. Or they send you like a full book. Here's this and this and this, and check this out, and here's the link to it. Wrong, 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 wrong. You want to run from those people. Okay? Don't want to be a part of those. What you want to do is if you're send something out, hey, make it short, sweet, connect with them. Hey, add value. Add something that makes sense. I wanted to connect with you because, hey, I see you're a fellow OPF speaker. Or I see, hey, you're a fellow podcaster in this niche. Or, hey, I see that we both are, fitness experts, okay? Another thing you want to do, if you don't complete your profile, a lot of people do it and then they won't come back to it. And they leave things sitting out there. So go ahead and complete that we talked about there. Here's another thing to increase engagement that people fall down on. They post something, but they won't use a hashtag or tag anybody else that's on their profile. So what we always try to do when we have a podcast episode is if somebody's on our podcast, I go out and make sure and send them an invite on LinkedIn so I can connect with them so that I can tag them. And then their followers, their connections can see that they were tagged in the article. And that does really, really well, just like tagging on Facebook. I also follow specific hashtags on LinkedIn, like you can on Instagram, and make sure and use those to help when I'm posting to drive engagement to that as well. Now, one of the biggest travesties is the About section. Most people in the About section of your profile, I'll show you this a little bit, barely put anything in there. And that is a big, big no-no. You should fill up the full, I think it's 1,500, 2,000 characters. Talk a little about what yourself. Talk about what you're focused. Talk about your passions. Talk about, hey, why they should connect with you. Not, I am a podcaster, social media marketing expert, real estate investor. No, I only say that joke about that because that was one of the mistakes that I made early on. Until my buddy Marcus Murphy, who's with Digital Marketer, who's also on the board of advisors for LinkedIn, told me about that one day, and I was like, that's so right. Let me share something about what makes me interesting. I only wish people would do that. It's like, oh, great. It's not quite like a dating profile. Like, I like pina coladas and long walks on the beach and listening to Bono. Okay. Fill out the complete about section and use a little about yourself. And the great thing about that about section, don't be afraid to use keywords, hashtags in there as well to help identify or help other people that have the same interests identify you as well and connect with you. That's one of the most beautiful things is when somebody's like-minded, reach out, hey, let's talk. Let's communicate. I don't have to worry about being beyond 5,000 that I got to go unfriend somebody to add somebody. Okay. That is a thing you can do. Also, I would go ahead and put this in here too. I would create, if you have a business, create a business profile, create a podcast profile. Yeah, you're going to probably be promoting, posting mostly from your individual stuff, but don't be afraid to do that. All right. Do it. All right. It is important to do. And honestly, LinkedIn is like on fire. It is going to be the bigger things. And honestly, I think in 5 years, you're going to see that Facebook be gone. I think you're going to see LinkedIn is in its heyday right now, especially being at home, people looking for connections. You're going to definitely want to be a part of it. All right. And no, I'm not paid by LinkedIn as well. I just love it. So let's talk about growing your audience. Okay. Woo. This is what I get excited about. All right. If you got your LinkedIn profile and you go to your homepage, you'll see a search bar up at the top. Okay. I just go up there constantly on a regular basis and I'll type in like real estate investor or note investor or podcast host. All right. Type that in there, hit search. It'll pull up everybody that's in that profile and you'll see like a number. So like when I type in podcast host, it pulled up like 88,000 people. All right. When I typed in real estate, it dropped it down like 15,000. Then I changed my connections. Now, the thing that LinkedIn does is it figures out how are you connected. Now, if you and I are connected, if I'm connected with Ever, we're a first-degree connection. Now, Ariel was a secondary connection till today because I was connected through her secondary. I wasn't connected to her directly, but we both had Ever as a friend. So she was a secondary connection. Or a third-degree connection is where I'm removed from subbing. A lot of times, third-degree connections, you may need to get somebody in-mails or send an in-mail, which is kind of like LinkedIn version of inside messaging to them to connect with somebody. And you're only allowed so many per month. That might be, if you start seeing you've got a lot of third-degree connections, if you go and connect your email address first and pull in your emails, you'll see a lot of those third degrees turn into second degrees and go from there. I love sending a short connect invite. It's always better to send a short message of something when you're sending an invite, and you're allowed, I think, 300 characters to be precise. So it's longer than an Instagram post. But you don't want to be like, buy my stuff, buy my, let's meet, let's come on, call me right now. No. I often will say, I've stretched that 300 character out by adding a short video, especially if I'm connecting with other podcast hosts that I would like maybe to them consider me being on the show, or somebody maybe potentially listening to my podcast. So like one of the things I did this morning is I went out, pulled some real estate investors, and I started sending some invites to them. Say, hey, I'm a fellow looking to connect with fellow real estate investors during this pandemic. I've been investing in real estate for 15 plus years. I also have a podcast called The No Close Show. Love for you to listen. And then I put a bit.ly link where they can click on the link and it takes them to them. Another thing that I've done, hey, I see that you're a real estate podcast host like me. I would love to talk to you about maybe being a guest on your show or doing a show swap. Here's a short video on me. And then I attach a bit.ly link for my YouTube or my Vimeo account. And it's a short little 1 minute to 2 minute pitch video where they see me talking, they see my energy. I can go a little bit more in depth about the different things I talk about versus 300 characters. All right. I love the fact is that too, if you're sending out invites, you're limited to a total of 2,500 total invites out there. You can see who's viewed your profile, who's either connected with you or who hasn't. So this is the thing is that, hey, they viewed your profile, but they also will show you on the right-hand side profiles other people have viewed. So if they're looking at your profile and they're looking at somebody else's, you can see who else they're looking at. And those would be people you want to connect or maybe even have on your show as a guest, or vice versa. If they have a podcast that you can be on, to reach out to those people as well, because you got something in common, because you got similar audience listening to those people. All right. I'm a big proponent that everybody can send at least 100 contacts a day or connects a day. Like I said, you can max out at 25 total invites at a time. You may have to go and delete some of the older ones off to add new ones. I also like importing contacts. Now, I talked about the email aspect of things, but LinkedIn allows for you to upload a spreadsheet or a CSV file with emails, and they'll go out and see if those emails match with the profiles on the platform. So if you've got a database of listeners, you've got an email list of clients, why not connect with them on LinkedIn? Now, some of you guys are like, I don't want my boss to see my part-time. That could be scary. You know what I mean? You don't want that. But you can block those people. You can remove those people as connections. If you're doing something on the side or a side hustle that you don't want the people to know, that's fine to block them. But I would go ahead and import your database and start connecting with those people. Same thing. You import 1,000, LinkedIn will send out an invite to them. Hey, Scott Carson wants to connect with you. Yes or no. Boom. You're rocking and rolling there. Okay. I'm just seeing if there's any questions. I know people are posting some things here. A bit.ly link. A bit.ly link allows for you to take a long link, like a long 32-character link, copy it into bit.ly. It's a free service, and it shortens it down to a small link. Bit.ly. Other people have referred to, you can also use what's called a pretty link where you can track clicks on. If I've got some time, Mr. Joe Test, I'll show you what a bit link. I know we're all Joes running around here today, but anyway. Okay? But that's the thing. What would your show numbers look like if you could connect with 100 new listeners each day? Or let's just say you send out 105 people listen to your show, and 5 people go back and subscribe and binge. That could be 100 new downloads. It could be that could boost your show. It doesn't take a lot to boost your show if you're getting the right type of people. Somebody, I think in the previous episode, talked about how they were just blasting out things to everybody. Well, that's not a good, effective use. Don't get me wrong. I know we're all guilty of that at some point. But, hey, if somebody's reaching out to you and they have something that you're interested in or you're passionate about or a hobby or have a side hustle you have that in common with, wouldn't you want to take a look? I'll listen to the show. Oh, you're making a link right here where I can go directly to the link or the video or your YouTube channel? Oh, that's easy. Sure, I'll check it out. Who knows? All right? Simple things. I have just one LinkedIn account. I have I take that back. I have 2. One for my business, week close notes, but I have, it's just a profile. I use my one Scott Carson, my personal, okay? Week close notes is the parentship, so I have other things out there. So I have my main Scott Carson. One Scott Carson is my profile on LinkedIn. You should not, if you've already started one for your job, don't go out and start another new profile. Keep the same one, all right? All right, moving on here. Now let's talk about getting you booked. As I said earlier, when I went and searched for podcast host, I typed in podcast host, and it pulled up 84,000 plus profiles. Now, honestly, it's a funny thing is when I did that same search last year, it pulled up 336,000 podcast hosts. So LinkedIn's changed some things up. But still 84,000 podcast hosts on LinkedIn is crazy, right? Now, if you type in just podcast in their profile, it popped up 199,000 plus profiles. So close to 200,000 profiles that are podcast affiliate of some sort, okay? Now, what you want to do next is then narrow it down to your niche, okay? 84,000, type in podcast host, fitness, podcast host, real estate, podcast host, pop culture, podcast host, technology, whatever it might be. Do that and narrow it down. And then you can do this from your phone. It's free to do if you've got the LinkedIn app. All right. Just send it, connect and invite. Hey, love to connect with you. I'm a fellow podcaster in the blank field. Here's my show. Let's connect. Maybe you can do a show swap or network. Okay. Very, very easy to do. I always like to include a link because if you include like a link to a video, it'll pop up the video preview. So like, I'll show you mine. Mine says like, hey, Scott Carson podcast pitch, or we can help, especially if I'm reaching out to bankers in my field with trying to buy notes from the banks. I include, hey, let we close notes up in the thumbnail so they can see, oh, you want to help us this fourth quarter? Let's talk. But it's a lot longer and it adds extra value versus just getting some connect link. They actually link with a message and actually a little short video that they can watch. Okay. All right. Glad that you're loving this piece of actionable advice, loving this content. Thank you very much, whoever you are. All right. But honestly, you could do this from your home, your office, while you're driving down the road, while you're waiting on the takeout order or the to-go order, you're waiting on your spouse to get out of the dressing room or whatever they're doing. This is one of the big things that I'll do. Boom, boom, knock out 5 or 10 invites. I'll do a quick search. Who am I not connected to? Who do I not have an invite to? Let's invite my connections. Let's connect my connections. Now, what used to be really great, but went away, is 2 Thanksgivings ago, LinkedIn took away the opportunity for you to export your contacts. Now, you can still export your contacts, but it won't give you an email address. It just gives you the LinkedIn profile. It used to be you export your connections. It would export the email address that people use too, but they changed that up. They got really sneaky Thanksgiving 2 years ago. So that was one great way to build an email list, of doing that as well. But now let's change. Could you include a link in the invite message? I thought it was prohibited. No, you can include a link. Yes, you can totally include a link. I'll show you something here in a few minutes with that. All right. Nope, it's not illegal at all to include a link. So here, let's talk about sharing your content. I'm a big proponent of sharing your episode links with hashtags. Like if I go on and post my most recent episode, the San Antonio real estate market. We break down in this episode with how the San Antonio market is evolving and what's going on in the market with my buddy at Josh Boggs, speaking from Exposed Homes. Well, I'll use the hashtags in there. Hashtag real estate podcast, hashtag real estate investing, hashtag cash flow rentals as extra hashtags like you would on Instagram. Okay. Now, some people want to talk about, well, should I go the show notes or the show transcription? And I'm a big fan of using the transcription. I don't do it all myself. I have a production team that helps me out that. But using Otter AI or Rev or Temi, creating some teaser content. Maybe it doesn't have to be long. Maybe it's a 2-paragraph discussion about what the podcast is. I like using that to write my short articles, taking the show art as my picture, short article, and then a link, okay? A link to the audio on my website or the YouTube video. So I give people an opportunity to listen to either or. But short articles do really well. It's an image, or I'll do, hey, this is Scott Carson, the Note Closer Show. You got to check out my most recent episode with Mark Victor Hansen about his new book. Click on the link below in the article to either watch it or listen to the full episode. Less than 10-minute long video. It's killing it out there right now. Short videos. Now, yes, if you had LinkedIn Live, that's doing well too, but most of you aren't going to have LinkedIn Live. So short, less than 10 minutes, you can upload those directly in native content. When you upload that video, it's native. There's not a link that's shared over from YouTube or video, but that short native content is doing really well. Now, yes, of course, I put a link into the longer video, my longer episode elsewhere, but that's a great thing to do, okay? Post your episodes, post your articles to groups. As I said before, 100 to 100,000 sided groups. If you only see 1% of the group sees it, that's still 1 to 5 to 10 to 20 people that will click on your link and go and watch and listen, all right? Post infographics or reviews with the episode link. This is a huge thing I think so many people are failing to do, is taking a screenshot of your reviews, your 5-star reviews on your phone, on Apple iTunes, whatever, and then posting those as an image. Hey, check out my most recent check out my happiest client, or one of my most recent happy listeners, with a quote, a link to the episode, or a link to the show. Does really, really well as well. Now, the thing is, too, I talked about this earlier. You can actually, if you've got guests on, it might be easier if you're connected to LinkedIn to send them a request for a recommendation for your show. You can actually do that. You can send requests out. If you all want to send me a request for a recommendation, I'm going to make sure I know you first before I write, but it's almost automatically done. I can just go in there, type it. I don't have to pull up a Word doc or an email or figure out iTunes and do that from there. I can send them, hey, would you mind? We're connected on LinkedIn. Would you send me a quick recommendation about my podcast? And then you can screenshot that. Becomes a great infographic to share, not only just on LinkedIn, but everywhere else for you too. Okay. And I said this important thing, tag guests or others in the post with at Scott Carson, at Joe Test, at Ever Gonzalez. Tagging your guests or people that would be interested can really, really help you get things. Now, people can always go in there untag. Now, I don't like to tag people that aren't affiliated. There's some people who will tag everybody. You know, they'll tag Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, everybody else in there. That's not going to really help. But tagging people, smaller people, previous guests, current guests, future guests, people that you know in your audience that are going to be interested is a really great thing that people to spend time on. Let's see here. I get notifications sometimes that so-and-so's post is trending. Is that particular strategy make you post trending? Not really. I mean, I get posts and say, hey, you've had over 100 people like your post. Tag somebody in it to have it go trend a little bit more. And that's helpful to do. That's what I'm trying to get at there for you on there, Martin. If someone can only choose to focus on 2 to 3 social media sites to post, what are the top 3 you recommend? It all depends on where your audience is at. My audience is a professional real estate business-based aspect professionals, okay? They're on LinkedIn. They're on Facebook. They're not on Instagram that much. They're not really on TikTok, all right? So I think everybody should have, obviously, video. YouTube is one thing. Facebook, obviously. But LinkedIn is one of those huge things that most people aren't tapping into, all right? Let's look at everybody else's question there. Just going through. Do you link to the post field or the connection segment? I've heard that LinkedIn is not so keen on links in the status post section. They want you to stay on LinkedIn. It just depends. Share it in both. Here's the thing. Here's what I want you guys to do. If you are saying, I have heard this, don't ask that question. Go do it. This is one of the biggest things out there. Go do it. Go try it. What they want, obviously, is somebody to be native content. They want that video to be uploaded there. Yeah, they may not promote a link, but you can still promote it with your hashtags. You're tagging other people, other LinkedIn profiles, still can get the word out. Or you're still sharing a photo. The photo is native content with a link in the comments or the section, okay? That's the thing. If you post the link in the actual description, it's going to pull up that link. No, share your own photo and then put the link below separately. You may need to upload the photo before you upload the link. Okay? I think I just answered that question. Thanks, Martin. Appreciate it, buddy. All right. Do both. Just keep messing around with what works best for you. So here's some of the other cool tools you can do to help you grow. How are we doing on time? We're good on time. Oh, yeah. You can purchase lists of your avatar. What's your avatar? Listeners. There are, if you're looking for podcast guests or other podcast hosts in your niche, you could go over to listennotes.com and you can actually purchase a list of podcasts in your field. I did that. I bought a list of real estate podcasts. They have uploaded shows in the last 6 months. So I was able to get all their contact information, and then I sent out a LinkedIn connection to people. I uploaded that list and said I want to connect with those people. Now, it didn't always work, but I still followed up. That was a great way to help you with that. There's other services like Exact Data, Melissa Data, that are list building services that we use. Now, it's not the cheapest thing, but it's roughly 6 to 14 cents a lead. Or if it's a business-to-business contact, it's like 25 cents a lead. So here's the thing. I'll give you an example. Like, we deal with a lot of investors. We also deal with a lot of people in the business side of things. So I'm thinking here with everything going on with where it's at in the environment, a lot of people are getting laid off. Like Halliburton out of Houston, Texas, laid off like 6,500 people. All right, or put them on leave or whatever I guess you could say. Sorry, furlough. Well, if I want to go buy a list, I could go there, figure out what the list is, buy that list. It's like 6,500 people. If they're ideal looking for retirement or looking to move their money or looking to invest, I could then send invites out to them. Hey, it may be worth the $2,500 to $3,000 it may cost you that. Minimum order is usually about $1,000, but you can do a lot of identifying on specific niches if people fall in specific categories in your field. Okay, some great tools. Octopus CRM, phenomenal. I love Octopus CRM. This allows you to automate that 100 connections a day. You can go in and it'll mail merge. Once you pull the profiles over, up to 1,000 profiles over per list, you can customize the first name, last name, company name, and then put the link in there and hit start, and it'll crank out 100, 150 at a time for you. Lead Fuse is another service you can use, a little bit more expensive, not quite as, I think, as effective as Octopus, but still available there for you. Like I said, look who are the influencers. Look who's your peers in your field. See what they're doing and what's working. You'll often find a lot of people aren't doing anything, but they are doing, say, on Instagram or Facebook. But if your listeners or followers are on LinkedIn, that's an untapped market for you to go on there and start connecting and owning that platform. If you have a hard time sharing or busy working a lot of times, look, if you can set something up, if you're going to share something to Facebook or to Twitter, you might as well share it to LinkedIn, at least share it there. So you might want to use Hootsuite or Buffer, and you can all use a free version. Both of those free versions including a LinkedIn profile, and share your content at the same time. Pre-schedule it. If you're working full-time, hey, do it Saturday, Sunday night to pre-schedule it to pre-book there. And then as I talked before, here's the thing that I haven't talked about before. We talked about bit.ly. There's another cool tool called snip.ly, L-Y. that allows for you, I could do a whole class on this, but anyway, if you see an article like USA Today or Housing Wire or something like that, you copy the link from USA Today, drop it into snip.ly, and it allows for you to look like an ad, either which corner you put your logo to your podcast, logo to your website, and it makes it look pretty freaking cool, like you're actually paying to advertise in USA Today. Creates its own custom link, and I'll share that link, and how it looks. People are reading the articles. They can't help but see my podcast, or can't help but see my website there. So pretty inexpensive tool to use on a regular basis, okay? Best days of the week, Monday through Friday, work better on LinkedIn instead of Saturday, Sunday. Roughly same times, morning, afternoon, and evenings before 7 o'clock. But the work best on LinkedIn is what we have found. Anything after 7, 8 o'clock current time, I'm in Austin, slows down a little bit. Unlike your Instagram or your Facebook, do a little bit better later at night, okay? So let's dive in. We got a few minutes here. I got like 12 minutes to dive in and show you some things on what we do on a regular basis. So I'm going to escape off of I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. I'll jump over here to LinkedIn. Close this down. Close. Hit my home. All right. Let me share my screen here with you guys so you can see my profile. All right. So here's a great example. Oh, look, Tracy Hazard is a good friend of mine. She loves LinkedIn. She's an Inc. columnist, and she's sharing her podcast, Product Hazard Launch, right there. Tracy and Tom. It's a photo there, and you can see an episode a little bit about it. She uses a couple hashtags, leverage, chatbots, product launch, because that's what her article's about. And then she uses the link, a bit link, short link, so it takes them directly to the episode. Very, very nicely done. That was not planned, but Tom and Tracy Hazard do that. If something calls to your eyes, something attracts your eyes and you like it, use it. All right, everybody? Use what is attracting your eyes is a good thing. So literally right up here at the top, you can see some of the things. I'll just type in, like, let's say podcast. Podcast hosts. Type that in there and it pulls up. Drum roll, please. Oh, you want to change it to people. 91,000 results, okay? 91,000 on there. Message, because I've connected with a lot of these people, all right? Now you can sit here and type it in. Let's take it a little bit deeper, all right? Who wants to tell me? Let's see who they said here. I don't know. It's going to vary on, if you're going to buy a list from Listen Notes, you need to go there. It's going to depend on what you pull down, Martin. I don't have the answer because every order is different. Can you post the link where you said it looked like an ad right on your profile pic? Post a link. Right, so look, I don't get what you're talking about on that question somebody asked there. Okay. All right. So let's just say you have a fitness podcast. We'll just type in fitness. So it popped up, drum roll, 6,200 fitness podcasts. Now, not all of them are being there, but they have that podcast host at Thrive Beats. This is where you want to look at it. Co-founder, Escape Fitness Equipment. Ooh, podcast host and producer of the Elements of Being in Chicago podcast. Okay. This is a great way for you to go to. I've connected with a lot of people because they're podcast hosts, but this is a thing where you can go to and send a connection. Right. Now, what do you want the message to look like? Well, I've already sent a bunch out, so let me show you here. Here's one that I sent out to other real estate investors today. Hey, Perry. I'm looking to connect with other investors during this craziness. I've been an investor for 15 plus years. I have a podcast, the Note Close Show, that's focused on investing in notes. I'd love for you to check it out. That link, let's connect. Okay, and I put a link, bit.ly, customize the bit.ly link, which is free, and it pulls up my page. They click on that. Okay. Now, I did some of this last night. Let's see here. I've had people already reach out to me that said, hey, we'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to have you as a guest yesterday. Where is it here? I just saw this. Here you go, Andrew Taylor. Boom. Scott, you bet. Also check out our platform. Here's what I sent as a podcast. So say, hello, Andrew. I'm a fellow podcaster in real estate and wanted to see if you would be interested in having me on as a guest to discuss the defaulted and distressed real estate market with the chaos. Here's a video on my 15 plus years experience in the debt markets. And it's my Vimeo link. They click on it, the 2-minute long, and they watch it, and you want to have me on. So those are some very simple things. Connect with 10, 100 people a day. Does not take much to do. What age and background demographic most uses LinkedIn? Who is their main audience? Business professionals. Okay. Now You have 60, I talked about that in the very front end. 44% women are on here. 50% make above average. So there's some stats on there as well. 56% are men, 40% women. What else was I going to say? You have 67 million millennials that are on there. 38% of the LinkedIn users are 25 to 35, which is your prime podcast listening audience. Okay. Let's see what are questions here. So, Scott, I'm an architecture and civil engineering student. I can totally relate to real estate content. It would be great if I can interview you to create tips to help grads. Yeah, sure. Drop me a message. Talkwithscottcarson.com. Book me on there. 30-minute call there. So let's do this. Let's see if there's architecture podcasts. So let's type in podcast hosts, architecture. I think I'm spelling that right. So that popped up here. We click on people. 4,300 results. Anyways, a second connection. Connects and post. Author and window treatment editor. Might not be it. It's SEO consultants. Podcast host and master of none podcast. Some of these will be good, but you still got to look through these and see if they're still a fit. Okay. Now, if I look at notifications here, if I click on the notification side of things, you can see Larry Roberts mentioned me in a podcast, or his image there. You can see who's liked it, who's loved it. When somebody says an update, I say congrats to him. All right. That is a great thing. Now, let's talk about one of the important things I want you guys to look at is the import. You guys probably all have a database of some sort. You got an email list, networking at Podfest or Outlier or wherever you've been, at your local meetups. Let's talk about where you go with your connections. Okay. So let's click on home here. Click on my network. Oh, hang on a second. Let me show this with you here real fast. It's important. So if you're in your home, go to your home, get in your home. You can see on here, my profile here, you can see who's viewed your profiles. Views of your article, 16. But 1,786 people have viewed my profile. I think that's over 90 days. Yeah, February 20th to May 14th. Whoa, actually, I had 600 in one day, basically. Kind of crazy in that day. I don't know what happened. Some marketing piece went well. But you can see Joe Catt, sales manager at Saks Fifth Avenue. He viewed me. Okay, great. Sean Cassidy, digital transformation. Steve Missionario, second degree. Connect. Paxton Williams is connected with. Private Capital Solutions. You see, people are seeing my articles. So I can connect with these people or go ahead if they connect, message them, and take that relationship to the next level by saying, hey, I saw that you like my profile, or hey, I saw you like my article. Love to touch base. What are you focused on? Okay. You can see some of these pending down here means they looked at it, but they didn't accept my profile. All right. Expert on divorce real estate, Carolyn Fox. I may need to reach out to her. Maria Curiel. She reached out and actually listened to my podcast, went to my website, and ended up signing up for a workshop this weekend. Seriously. So that's the thing. If you're selling your own stuff, this is a great place to get people interested in coming and checking out what you're doing and seeing what you're up to. We post on a pretty regular basis there. But anyway, going back to your network, clicking on that. So, yeah, we'll accept Joe Katz is there. Okay. You can see I got 21,795 people. But the thing down here is your contact import is raised. If you hit connect or hit continue down here. Come on. Manage my connection. So hang on here. Come on. There we go. So it popped up over here. LinkedIn says, okay, connect with people you know on LinkedIn already. We found 25 people you know on LinkedIn because I've done an email import before. All right. So I'm going to hit select all because I've connected with all these people for the most part in some sort of fashion. They're in my email database. They haven't, maybe they're just not very active on LinkedIn. That's fine. So I'm going to hit add connections. It's going to send the email out to all of these people. Say, Scott Carson would like to connect with you. LinkedIn is also going to pull a list of addresses here. Like these people here don't have a LinkedIn profile. Now, if they don't have a LinkedIn profile, I'm not going to waste their time with a spam email saying inviting them to LinkedIn. So I'm going to skip that. Okay. Skip that. It's all sent out to them. You invited 25 people to connect, which is great. What we do. But what you can also do, this is really a thing, to import your list. If you've got 500, 100 people, whatever, click on try another email. And that pops up. So if I use Scott at Week Close Notes, you can see if you're Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, those of you still using dial-up with AOL, great. Or different email. But here's the thing, click upload a file. There you go, upload your CSV TXT file, and it'll do the same thing. It'll go out there looking for people that you've got on the list to connect with them. That is one of the most valuable tools to connect with your audience. If you've already got a list and kind of transitioning, bring them on over to LinkedIn or connecting with them on LinkedIn as well. All right. Now, I've only got a few minutes left, so I want to answer any questions that we haven't covered yet for you guys out here as well. I could spend a much longer time on this, but we're here to make sure we fall in line too. So Joe says, do you show them a trailer of your podcast or a small clip of part of your podcast on LinkedIn? No. Hey, just say, check out my podcast. And that link I showed was just the artwork that pops up for my podcast. Now, if you want to do a teaser, I think you're talking about of other people's podcasts. Let's look. You want to see what it looks like real fast? Let's do that. If I can pull it up here, because it's a good thing here. Let's see here. Because it's short. It's just me talking about what I talk about. Hey, I'm an expert at this. I'm an expert at that. No, if you're a Christian podcaster, I think it would be great on here. Are there any special concerns, religion, algorithms, or words of word? No, I don't think so. Not at all. It's just me talking. This video is just me talking for roughly 2 minutes, and I uploaded it. It is a private link on Vimeo, so I can see. You've got to have the link or have clicked on the link for you to be able to see it. People just can't go to Vimeo.com and see the video. So I can see that it's been played 300 times and know that it's working. All right, and I'll show you. So it takes them straight to Vimeo. And on this video, drum roll, please. Is this a new one I just did, or is this the older one? I'm looking here. 1 year ago, played 262 times. Hey, I don't care if I've sent out 1,000 connections that way and only had 262 people click on it. This has gotten me 100 because they see my energy. They see what I'm talking about. And this is just me
Carson,
from my office.
As the note guy. My specialty is I am a very active real estate investor and the CEO of WeCloseNotes.com. We are a Austin-based
2 minutes, but they see my energy. They see that I'm excited about what I'm talking about, and it sets myself apart from other people out there. Okay, a huge, huge thing to do. Do a little bit more than normal. No, Vimeo is a storage place similar to YouTube, but it's much more. It's going to cost you for Vimeo. We do a lot of training, but I use Vimeo as another video storage place for me. Do I take the time to personalize each message? I try to, Ariel, if I can, if I'm doing it individually. Hey, John. Hey, Ariel. Hey, Ever. I would love to. But in times that I can't, I'll use a service. Oh, can you still see my screen? This is Octopus CRM. Okay, this is a service that I use. And so it customizes up here. So like I'm looking to connect with other real estate investors. I've been a real estate investor for 15 plus years. If you check it out. So it automatically does the mail merge for the first name, last name. Sometimes I'll go back, especially if I'm not in front of my computer. With Octopus, I'm doing this. Yeah, of course. I still always do, hey, Jim, hey, John, hey, Ever. I always try to do that first and foremost. All right. You can see I just did this 3 hours ago and connected with 10 other people because I stopped it and I didn't do something else. Okay. Question here. What are 2 things you wish you would have done when you started? I wish 2 things I wish I would have done more. Start sooner. All right. Definitely start sooner. And I wish I would have been sharing more video to LinkedIn. I mean, I've got over 1,000 videos on YouTube. My podcast is a video podcast. We always record it via Zoom most of the time, like we're doing now. And then I use the audio from that for the podcast and then I upload the video to YouTube. So started sooner. That would have been the first thing that I wish I'd done more. And the second thing is I would have, sharing more instead of like, oh, I'm just going to rely on my episodes. Like I record it and they will come. Been a little bit more active on the front end. I mean, we had 50,000 listens in the first 4 months of my podcast. We started August. And then by December, we had 52,000 total downloads in my first 4.5 months, which is pretty good. We average around 20 to 25,000 downloads in a month. Sometimes we peak at 35, 40. Sometimes it's down to 6, just varies. But I wish I would have started sooner and shared more. Okay. What are the questions, comments you guys have as we're coming up on the end of my section here for you? Great question. Why such a focus on mass increasing connection? Is it better to have less but more engaged? Yeah, I would love it if people were more engaged. That's such a great question. Mass connection. Because here's the thing, everybody. 80% of sales comes after the fifth contact. Fifth contact. And contact doesn't mean, hey, they need to see something. They need to hear something. They need to read something. They need to see you showing up on a regular basis before they get it. So while, yes, I do send out connections, a lot of connections, those that don't connect with me, I'll just delete those connections every month and start all over. But 80% of sales comes after the fifth contact. And most people give up after the first. 50% of people never make a callback. So while I say we're all in media, we're all in sales. You're all selling your workshop. You're all selling your content, maybe your affiliates, your sponsors, whatever like that. You got to show on a regular basis. So yes, I do invite and grow my connections. And we have people that opt into a variety of different things, and they just, they stick with us. There's a lot of time people call me, hey, I've been watching your stuff for 3 to 6 months, and now I'm ready to do something. Or I've been listening, binging, and going from there. So if you guys are looking to grow your downloads, if you start doing that one simple thing and connect with people and give them your link and your avatar, I guarantee you'll probably see your number increase by at least 10% month over month. They continue doing it. Can you sell products directly on LinkedIn? Yeah, I posted. I have a workshop coming up. I will post little short videos. Hey, I got a workshop. Here's a link to it. So yes, you can post workshops content. But the thing is, you want to make sure that it's really just a 3-to-1 ratio. 3 pieces of good content versus a sales thing. So that's why we use the podcast and articles on LinkedIn all the time. Easy, guys. You can connect with me going on to talkwithscottcarson.com and bring it up here so you guys can have it all down there. My contact information before I wrap it up for everybody here. So hopefully it was helpful. Let's see. Jacob says, thanks for the great content. Can't wait to begin implementing on my social media. That's awesome. That lovely lady there is Stephanie Goodman. Could not do what I do without her. She is just an amazing person and huge support staff for what we do. We've been, absolutely love her. And she has a podcast she's working on in the process called the Fur Babies Podcast. She's filmed some episodes and launching hopefully the end of this month. So stay tuned for that. But she does a lot in supporting, making sure that I can keep things rocking and rolling. All right. But there's my contact information, email, phone number. Like I said, connect with me. We're here to help in any way. If you'd like a 30-minute conversation to see, hey, if it works or some brainstorming ideas, go to talkwithscottcarson.com, and I'd be glad to do that to help you out any way I can for you guys. And once again, thank you so much, Ariel. Thank you, Ever. Thanks, everybody.
Great job, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you.